So from that standpoint, you have to do
then eventually
draft picks let you do.
He went out the way he wanted to, as a champ. So,
well, I mean, then he went to Denver, and in that regard, the Colts did Peyton a solid because they basically said, look, pick your team. They gave him that opportunity. I don't know that the Giants would be able to give Eli that opportunity because he's still got years on his contract and at more than $20 million par. So it would be more of a business decision in that regard.
Like I said, well, at this point it doesn't matter, but the West Coast offense and Eli has not merged the way the Giants wanted them to go, and at this point maybe you say, let's practice let's play without the West Coast offense.
They can't now.
Well, now
they don't have receivers anymore.
Well,
the last couple of weeks, ever since Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt, they certainly haven't been playing a West Coast offense. They can't. But then it goes back with the Giants. It goes back to their offensive line deficiencies that we've talked about many times since training camp. That's an issue that they never addressed, and that's why Jerry Reese was he said this week basically fell on his sword this week and said, hey, the reason we're 1-6 is me. And while I admire his accountability and taking the hit and trying to maybe deflect or distract a little bit from the team, the players still need to perform. And Jerry Reese is paying a lot of guys a lot of money, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where, before last season, they went out and spent a lot of money to shore up their defense. And this season, not a lot of those guys are actually performing. So, good for Jerry for trying to shift some of the blame to himself. But at the end of the day, players need to earn the money that they're being paid. And right now, there aren't very many Giants doing that.
That's true.
So, and I know this discussion started with the Jets, and quickly, my apologies for taking it on a tangent.
Hey, who thought the Jets would be playing this good, considering no one expected anything from them? I mean, 3-5 is pretty good.
3-5. It certainly isn't horrible for a team that everybody expected at this point of the season to be maybe 1-7.
Yeah.
So the Jets certainly have performed better than anybody expected, and that's hard to say with a 3-5 record. But people expected them to be a disaster this season, and they certainly aren't the disaster that the San Francisco 49ers are or the Cleveland Browns are. So you have to give them credit for. I mean, obviously they're not even the disaster that the Giants are in the same city.
Right, and I think both of us thought that the Jets were going absolutely nowhere. So
it was a no-brainer. The thing with the Jets, and we said it on the show weeks ago. This was a team that was designed to lose. It was the Cleveland Indians from Major League, the film. It was a team that was built to lose.
Right.
And the fact that they've actually won a few games, and the fact that they were in a game with the Atlanta Falcons, the team that was in the Super Bowl last season, and that people can look at that game and say, you know what, if it just didn't screw it up a couple of times, they could have won this game.
Definitely.
I mean, this is a game the Jets should have lost by 20 points.
Definitely. The Jets on Thursday are hosting the Buffalo Bills. The Giants will be hosting the Rams on Sunday. So,
and that should be 2 wins. I hate to put it out there like that, especially when both of them are struggling. But actually, Buffalo is playing well. I'll give the Bills a lot of credit. They're actually playing well and have turned into me to be one of the surprise teams in football this year.
Well, our friend here at the station, Joe Ritter, is all excited because he's a Buffalo.
He should be. His team is actually playing pretty well, surprisingly enough.
As he likes to tell us, they're the only true New York team.
Well, let's not get crazy.
I mean, if he wanted to go to a game, though, he's flying 5 hours or 3 hours or driving 10. And if you want to
it's not that far. Buffalo's about 6 or 7.
No, we went to Buffalo. It took about 9 hours to get there. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look at a map.
It was very...
I would have to look at them. I drove there. Actually, I drove there from Albany one time. That took about 5 hours. Yeah, I don't know. From here, it's probably about 7.
Yeah. So
but that's in a car. I don't know how long it would take on a plane. Probably an hour and a half or so. But it shows you how big New York State is. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because most people who live around here consider Buffalo to be in Canada, as opposed to New York.
Well, what do you do when you go to Buffalo? You go across the border and get some Canadian beer.
Exactly.
That's what we did when we were there.
I wouldn't mind doing it again, brother.
We'd have to go stay with Ken, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, let's put it this way. The Jets, again, I mean, had to lead at halftime. That muff punt from Curse, it killed them. Down 2 points, you're about to get the ball back, and instead Atlanta winds up with the ball deep in Jets territory, and they wind up getting points out of that. And that, I mean, I don't want to say that was the ball game, but it basically was. I mean, it was a critical mistake. And granted, it was pouring rain yesterday. The conditions certainly weren't optimal in any way.
No.
But that's why that guy is receiving punts, is because he supposedly has the surest hands on the team. Punt returns aren't even so much about how much yardage and having a fast guy back there. It's about having a guy who has sure hands, who is going to catch the ball. Because the other team is punting, and the ball is coming into your area. It's going to be on your side of the field. And the one thing you don't want is to lose a fumble and to just give a team 50 yards.
Good point.
And that's what happened yesterday. And the Falcons, still being a good team, took advantage of that.
Let's. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
We got about 6 minutes left.
Yes.
Interesting. A Brooklyn Dodgers cap worn by Jackie Robinson that had padding sewn into the lining, so it would help protect him from beanballs. Was sold for
metal plates too, I think.
Yeah, sold for close to $600,000 at an auction on Sunday. That was a record amount for a price paid for a hat at an auction.
How about that?
It gets to the point with all these auctions, you hope it's the real deal.
No, this one is. This one came with the whole thing about certificate of authenticity, which I have my doubts about that at times because some of those companies have been exposed as frauds. This one came with a letter of authenticity from Rachel Robinson.
Okay, well, that's
Jackie's wife.
I trust her with everything. So,
yeah, I got to trust Rachel on this one.
Yeah. So,
to me, that's a piece of memorabilia where if I had the money, then I'd bid on it because if you're getting a letter from Rachel Robinson saying yes, this is the real deal, I'm going with it.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there is soccer being played in the playoffs in our area. New York NYCFC, my favorite team in the MLS, is playing, and so are the Red Bulls. So they both made the playoffs. Of course, the games go on and on and on. It's unfortunate. They'll be playing in cold weather and shorts and running around.
Well, I mean, they were playing games. Playoffs have started already, brother. They were playing probably in 70-degree weather last week.
Yeah, well, that was a lucky thing, but most likely it's usually about 50. Like I said, I think the MLS season should be shorter. I know why it isn't. It's too long of a season for what they do. So, also the Cosmos are in the NASL. So
how about that?
But then
Just to give a little background, brother, the New York Red Bulls will be playing Toronto FC, and that match actually is tonight in Toronto. That's the first leg. They're playing this. I know you don't like
Toronto.
The format.
I think it's a home game tonight.
Right, for Toronto.
No, I think it's for the. It says,
wait a minute.
It says in the Daily News.
Let me double check.
So
let me double check.
Yeah,
they might be doing it the opposite way that I'm used to seeing with the line score.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, Red Bull Arena.
Yeah.
All right. So, but the Red Bulls get the first game, and Toronto FC, to their credit, I mean, they are the favorites to win MLS Cup. They were by far the best team in MLS this season. So Red Bulls certainly have their hand full. And Toronto won the Supporters' Shield, and they won it by a lot. I think it was a record number. I think they won. I think they were the best team by something like 14 or 15 points this season,
right?
Which is a huge amount. So they are the favorites to win this thing. The Red Bulls kind of squeaked into the playoffs, and now because of that, they get to take on the best team in the Eastern Conference. NYCFC will be playing Atlanta, and that's the
I thought NYCFC was playing Colorado.
Oh, I'm sorry, Columbus.
Columbus.
No, Atlanta lost. But they're playing Columbus, and that game will be. There's a game, I believe it's tomorrow night is the first leg, and then they'll play again on Sunday at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that's a long wait. I mean, it's a 4-day wait for the NYCFC, 5 games for the Red Bulls, or 5 days, I should say. So that's a long wait, man. I know why. You got to get your team rested and it's all running and everything, but
yeah, I mean, you can't you can't play 3 soccer games in a week.
One thing I give credit for Major League Baseball this time, they did the 2-3-2 thing. And
right.
So, there's less travel because of it. And then also the games are back-to-back. You don't have to wait, especially in the NBA where the playoffs seem to go on forever. I mean, we could have this year, tomorrow, where the World Series doesn't go into November, which is, I think, an important thing. So,
well, but it never should go into November. The fact that we're in a place where the World Series is threatens to go into November, I think, is ridiculous. And that's something I think that baseball needs to address, whether it's knocking a couple games off the schedule, which we all know they'll never do because that means they're shaving revenue from their business. But the World Series shouldn't go into November.
Oh, I agree, but I give them credit. It seems like the games have been, 2 games and a day off, and then 3 games, and I like that. One thing about the Dodgers, I'm watching the games, and who's in the front row? Did you see this? Mary Hart.
Mary Hart.
Mary
Big
Hart
Dodger
and her husband Bert Sugarman are in the front row. I'm not sure if they stayed the whole game because the last time I saw them in a game, it might have been 2 years ago, whatever. They stayed until about the 7th inning, which is what all Dodger fans do. So,
right.
But it's like, hey, there's Mary Hart. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, Larry King was sitting next to her.
Oh, I didn't see Larry.
Yeah, no, the Dodgers, they have. I hate to say it, but they have fossils sitting in the front row.
Yeah, well,
Mary Hart's been sitting there for probably 20 or 30 years, and Larry King's probably been sitting there since he was probably waiting for the team in that seat to come to L.A.
Well, yeah, he still talks about the Brooklyn Dodgers like they're around. By the way, Islanders in 4th place in the Metropolitan Division, the Devils in 1st place. The Rangers are in last place. The Rangers have been playing horrible. The Islanders actually been playing pretty good. John Tavares has been playing very well also.
Had a hat trick the other night.
He had a hat trick the other night. And also, the whole thing about Tavares and, whether he re-signs with the Islanders, which I hope he does. He seems like he wants to stay here, which is great, but you need
that hasn't been a story recently, and to me, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
I want that talked about every day.
Yeah, I do too, because
until he signs, anyway.
Yeah, and we also, as Island, they have to figure out if the Islanders are going to be moving to Belmont, and that has to happen, soon too, because if they can't move there, they can't sign Tavares. So,
or just an announcement. I mean, that they need.
But they're still going to play. They're still going to play at Barclays for 2 years.
Of course. So because it's going to take 2 years to build an arena.
Right.
But it's I think the Islanders need to sort out their real estate situation so that they can then move to the topic of getting John Tavares signed. I think he's just looking for some stability and some concrete proof of where his future is going to be.
We got to get going. By the way, Tim, Paul Manafort charged with conspiracy against the United States. Just saw
that on the news before we came on.
Coming up next, Good Gold Show with Ed Newlands. Keep it tuned to Big Ed as he plays the hits that don't get played anymore on the radio. Timmy, I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming on as always. We're from the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WHPC, WHPC HD in Garden City.
Do you like video games,
I do.
movies, comics, action figures, anything nerdy? Well, have I